It had to be this way. There was no other way for this Seattle Seahawks team to get to the Super Bowl like we've wanted as fans without having to go through their two NFC West rivals. Seattle had to go on their way to make sure that they beat the San Francisco 49ers. And then, of course, they had to face the LA Rams. It was the only way that it ever could be. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and we are going to take our first look right as the game goes final in Chicago. Rams come away with the OT victory. Seahawks right now, they are the favorites in this matchup to get the victory in Lumen Field. And I'll tell you right now, bring it on, Sean McVay. Bring it on, LA. Seattle is built to win titles. We are built to beat this LA Rams team. We've already done it once, and I'll tell you right now, this Ram team, they are not as good as it felt like they were all the way back in week 16 of this NFL season. I'm going to dive into some of the key players that we're going to have to watch out for, and then my early keys to victory in the show today. But before we do that, I need to let you know we have a new challenge here at Chat Sports. We are trying to catch up to Knicks Now. We got a ton of subscribers on the channel. Knicks Now, they're the next biggest channel on Chat Sports that is ahead of Seahawks Today. Let's reel them in. They are 3,000 subscribers ahead of us. We can catch up to them. I know that we can do that. Come on in, hit that sub button on Seahawks Today. What are you going to get? You're going to get daily Seattle Seahawks coverage, not just through the NFL playoffs, but you are also going to get daily coverage on the Seattle Seahawks in the 2026 offseason, which of course we hope doesn't happen anytime soon. So come on in and hit that sub button. Of course, the first person that we have to look at for the LA Rams is Mathew Stafford, the quarterback. He's going to win the MVP award this year. I get it. It's a little bit of he's been here for quite some time. But at the same point, he's been fantastic this year. In the postseason, he has not looked nearly as clean as he did. I feel like something happened in Seattle. I feel like we broke him. Of course, the first drive against the Chicago Bears, Stafford looked great. After that, he wasn't awesome. Kyren Williams had to backpack him all the way. I'm wondering if there's a finger issue there for Stafford. Kyren Williams, another fantastic game for him. You're starting to see the Rams kind of lean more on Kyren Williams than they were on using that two running back combo system between Williams and Blake Corum. What I do have to say this year is that Williams just continues to impress me. He can get to the outside edge as well as run up the middle. Seattle is going to have to have a game plan to stop him, but at the same time, Seattle has had a game plan to stop him. You take away that first quarter in the first matchup, Kyren Williams doesn't scare me. I will be honest, though, this guy does scare me a little bit. Puka Nacua, he absolutely torched Seattle last time, having well over 200 yards receiving. Seattle is going to have a game plan to slow him down, not only getting pressure on Mathew Stafford, which will not allow him to throw the football to Puka Nacua, but more importantly with Puka Nacua, and I'll tell you this right now, you got to find someone other than Josh Jobe to be in coverage on him. To me, it should be Devon Witherspoon every step of the way. There's no other person who should be on Puka Nacua. You have to find a way to slow him down and stop him if Seattle is going to win this football game. I've went through the three big key players in my eyes. Is there a Rams player that I didn't mention that scares you more? Maybe you're a little bit scared of what Jared Verse is doing on the defensive side. Maybe you're a little bit scared of Forbes and everything that could happen with him. Or who knows, maybe, potentially, you are scared of Devontae Adams and what he's able to do in the low red zone. He did not play against the Seahawks in the last matchup. Maybe that's someone that you're looking at. Let me know down below in the comment section what Rams player scares you the most. Maybe it's someone I didn't even mention. Keys to victory in this one for the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's defense is going to have to find a way to get pressure on Mathew Stafford. I believe that if Seattle's able to get pressure on Stafford, you are going to see him turn into a much more mortal quarterback. When you look at the regular season stats for Stafford, I think it's important to note with Stafford that most of these stats are against teams that weren't getting pressure on him The offensive line for the Rams was pretty darn good this year, making sure that he stayed upright in most of those games. Led to him not throwing a lot of interceptions, led to a lot of big plays, led to almost a 5,000-yard season for him and a high completion percentage. The defensive line of the Seattle Seahawks has to win up front. Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu, Derek Hall, Boye Mafe. The list goes on and on and on. They have to win up front. Get pressure on Stafford. Do not allow him to get comfortable. You don't necessarily have to get sacks on him, but we saw against the 49ers, Brock Purdy having to run around for his life. Mathew Stafford can't do that, so he's going to try to get the ball out quickly. If Seattle forces him to make a bunch of errant throws, there's not going to be a lot of completions for this Rams team, and they're not going to be able to get the offense moving in the way that they need to be. Ever since that Panthers game, when Stafford hit his hand on the helmet, it doesn't feel like he's had quite the same touch. In this game against the Chicago Bears, he didn't look all that good. Imagine what he's going to look like against a real star defense like we have up in Lumen Field. Plus, 12's getting loud. He's not going to be able to know where he is. The next key to a victory, Seattle's going to have to run the football effectively. I don't know right now at the time of this recording if we are going to have Zach Charbonnet in this matchup. To me, as we're still recording, he has to go under for that MRI. I guess I should say he has to go in and get an MRI. Doesn't have to go under any anesthesia for that. So that means Seattle's going to have to really rely on Kenneth Walker in this game. He has to continue to run the football the way that he has the last couple of games, especially in that last postseason game, getting over 140 yards from scrimmage, but also over 100 yards running the football. You've really seen him explode the last couple of months as of late, and Kenneth Walker is going to have to shoulder the running game in this one, or at least go into it like he's expecting to shoulder the running game. I'm going into this game with no word right now on any initial injury news other than what we put out in our previous video on the channel on Charbonnet. So I'm going to treat it like Zach Charbonnet is not going to be able to go. Just because his knee could potentially still be okay, there's a lot of optimism around the structural damage to Charbonnet's knee not being that drastic. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be able to play. We'll know more once he has his MRI and what that entire situation is going to entail for him and what the potential he has for playing in this game. But that means that Seattle's going to have to lean on that offensive line. They're going to have to lean on Gray Zabel, Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, and the rest of that crew. And they're going to have to rely on Kenneth Walker. The next key to victory for the Seahawks, we are going to have to create turnovers. This LA Rams team, they don't make a lot of mistakes, but when they do, you've seen teams get back into ball games. There was no freaking reason why the Carolina Panthers should have been in a ball game with the Rams, but they were because they forced turnovers in both of those matchups. We have to win the turnover battle. How does Seattle do that? Well, they're going to have to find a way to get pressure on Stafford. Rip, punch at the football early in this game, just like you were doing against San Francisco. Seattle does a great job of constantly trying to get the football out of the hands of their opponents' offenses. And if the Seahawks are able to force turnovers, I think that Seattle is going to come away with a victory. We saw it against San Francisco. When the Seahawks created those turnovers, the scoring just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And by the time San Francisco blinked, the game was over. I know Pete Carroll used to say that you couldn't win the game in the first quarter. Sometimes you can build a big lead that gets you the victory in the first quarter. Seattle's going to have to continue to do that. I'm going to dive into my key player that's going to be able to force those turnovers here in just a moment. But before I do, I need to let you know about this insane deal that's going on right now at chatsports.com/Seahawks shirt. Emerald City Football. This t-shirt is sweet. Plenty of time to still get it and wear it during the Seahawks postseason run, but more importantly, have it throughout the year of 2026. Insane deal. It was $35. Now it is $16. chatsports.com/Seahawks shirt. This could be for you, or it could be for that important person in your life. It is so freaking sweet. chatsports.com/Seahawks shirt. chatsports.com/Seahawks shirt. When you look at the regular season stats here for Ernest Jones, I think that the big number is the interception number that can pop out off the page to you. We saw him force a couple of turnovers, in fact, in that game, coming up with another interception against the San Francisco 49ers. Ernest Jones' ability to know when to have the peanut punch, the ability to know where to put himself so he can come up with an interception, the ability of Ernest Jones to know where he needs to be in big moments has led to a lot of big plays for the Seahawks and led to a lot of turnovers being created. Ernest Jones can help lead this Seahawks team to getting more turnovers on Sunday because you need to win the turnover battle if you're going to beat the Rams. I don't think the Seahawks have still been able to win that turnover battle, yet this series is 1-1. Imagine what will happen if Seattle wins that turnover battle. Sound off in the comment section. Who will be the Seahawks X-Factor against the Rams? Do you think it's going to be DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu? Maybe it's Kenneth Walker. Who knows? Maybe it's Cooper Kupp leading the Seahawks in receiving again. Maybe, just maybe, you think it's going to be Nick Eamon-Warry or JSN. Let me know down below in the comment section who's going to be the big X-Factor for you to help the Seahawks beat the Rams in this game. Keys to victory, my very last one, keep Sam Darnold upright. Obviously, he is still dealing with that oblique injury. The more that Sam can avoid getting hit, the better it is going to be for him in the long run. Obviously, he is going to play through it, and he's done a fantastic job of playing through it in that first game. But Seattle also didn't have to lean on him because they were able to run the football. We were able to run the football. Sam Darnold had some interception issues during the regular season. What happens if he starts getting touched up now that he already has an oblique injury? That was him when he was, well, we're going to say 100% healthy. If Sam Darnold is comfy in the pocket, we are going to win this ball game. He was comfy all day against San Francisco. Now, he took a couple of shots, he took a couple of sacks, but he still ended up being okay in the long run. I think that is what is most important for the Seahawks. Find a way to keep Sam Darnold upright. Find a way to keep him comfy. Do not allow him to take extra hits, and the Seahawks are going to come away with a very sweet, sweet victory. And then we'll get to the Super Bowl, just like we deserve. We're chasing down the Knicks right now. We are trying to catch up to the next biggest channel in chat sports, just slightly ahead of us. Knicks now, they're ahead by 3,000 subscribers plus. Come on in, hit that sub button. We got you covered for the Seahawks in this playoff run, but also in the NFL offseason. Draft coverage, free agency coverage, build up into the 2026 NFL season. Hit that sub button. Thank you guys so much for viewing the show today, and I'll catch you guys next time.